Hey there, my friends, and welcome back to the Creative Shop Talk podcast. As promised, today we're going to talk about takeaways from our recent live coaching inside my Retailers Inner Circle. We did an entire week of holiday boot camp, we call it, and it comes directly from our holiday success guide. And I'm going to tell you, it's so cool to think about what's possible for you and your business in the next 86 days. That's how many days are left between now and the end of the year. 86 days if you're listening to us on when we drop this podcast. But seriously, my friends, let's talk about the takeaways and what's possible for you and your brand, because we can do anything but not everything. So hang tight. I'm going to share with you what were our takeaways from our entire week of live holiday planning inside my Retailers Inner Circle. Let's go. Running a retail business doesn't have to be so hard. Welcome to the Creative Shop Talk podcast, the go-to podcast for creative shop owners, studio owners, and independent retailers. I'm your host, Wendy Batten, retail business coach and mentor. Each week, I'll share simple, proven business strategies, inspiring stories from fellow retailers, and advice from industry experts. Together, we're going to work to find the success you want from your retail business with more profits in your till and a little more joy in your life. Okay, the holidays are coming fast, my friends. Honestly, I'm sitting here right now, I'm looking outside and it's beautiful and sunny and hot and it feels like a perfect summer day. And here we are planning holidays. So I am recording this fairly live. We just had our fairly live, not live, but fairly current, I should say, as we just had our holiday boot camp inside my Retailers Inner Circle. That comes from directly watching the boot camp. The holiday success guide is what we call it. It's available to you. It's also available inside my Retailers Inner Circle. If you're a member, you're going to go grab it. I know you know about it because we've been talking about it for weeks. But we did a daily boot camp, a daily reminder of what helps you move forward. So as promised, and I know I mentioned this last week when we talked about future-proofing our brand and our business. And it's so important to be thinking that way and to always be thinking in the future. But it's also really important. Here we are, we have 86 days. It's not just about hoping and wishing and, people coming in. And I know if you've been a long time listener or if you've been listening and binge listening, and hey, shout out to everybody who's been sending me emails lately and leaving comments about binge listening. That's flattering. So shout out to you. Thank you for listening. Please kindly leave a review. It really matters. I read them all. It really matters for the algorithms. It really matters to all the things. If you have never left a review, kindly leave a 5-star, whatever star review. Kindly leave the best star review you can and a review on our podcast. It makes such a difference. So thank you for that. Okay, let's jump in. I don't know why I just mentioned that, but I've just had so many people lately tell me how much they're enjoying the podcast. But yet I see some comments, but I don't see. So I really appreciate that. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, what's possible for you and your brand in the next 86 days for the rest of this quarter? So I'm going to share with you the fact that the holidays are coming so fast sometimes makes us panic a little bit, but being prepared is how we avoid chaos. And not even chaos, it's also about opportunity. Like, how do you take advantage of all of the beautiful new customers coming in and all of that great inventory you have, or all of those workshops you have planned? How do we make the best of it? How do we make this the best it can be? And we're working hard, and the results or the takeaways, some of the things that we noticed inside in the conversations I had during our live boot camp were that, like, energetic, happy, excited, let's do this energy. And I love that. That makes me so happy. But those are all people who are doing that. Like, they showed up for the boot camp. They're ready to do it. They're doing the work. And then I have conversations with people who are are worried maybe and apprehensive of what's coming, and they're not sure what to do. And this is seriously the difference in taking control. All you can do is control your actions. You can't control the outcome, right? So you can control the action. Well, what action can you take? The action that you can take is preparation. It's sitting down. It's making a plan. And we've literally are giving you the roadmap. I literally, like we for $97, if you're not a member, you can grab it for $97 and just map it out yourself, step by step. We are giving you, we call it the survival guide. Well, actually, one of my clients called it the survival guide. So during our takeaway, I'm going to share with you some of the things that came up during our live. I think I have 5 here for you, but the holidays are coming fast. And so honestly, this doesn't have to mean stress or chaos or overwhelm. It does mean opportunity. So again, there's 2 types of retailers. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Those who are preparing and excited and they're taking action and they're doing the best, like they're making decisions. They're planning for success. They're not just hoping for it, hope it happens. Okay, I'm not going to harp on that, but there's a really big line in the sand between retailers who are doing the work and retailers who are not. And you get to decide. So listening to this podcast means you're a doer, you're a listener. So I do want to encourage you to go and do your entire plan. If you don't buy my workshop, go get somebody else's or sit down and figure it out yourself. But listen to some of the podcasts we've done here. We've mapped it out for you in the past. If you're an Inner Circle member, it's beyond my ability in my brain to understand why you haven't gone. If you haven't yet, now maybe you just haven't had time. You've been really busy. So go do it this week. Set aside a couple of hours and give yourself that gift. Okay, we're going to jump in. So we did, like as I mentioned, just wrapped up our holiday boot camp. And some of the takeaways, again, during this live were questions. That's what I'm going to share here. Not necessarily everything that's in our boot camp or our success guide. So if you're looking for it on my website, I should mention, because my team always tell me I don't mention this, it's wendybatten.com/. You can go into work with me. You can find the holiday boot camp. It's a standalone workshop. If you're a member of the Inner Circle, my Retailers Inner Circle, which is my monthly coaching group, which I adore, or in my mastermind, my Level Up Mastermind, which, my friends, we are now accepting applications for this year's cohort. If you're interested in being part of that super cool group, let me know. But seriously, go and grab that. Go and grab the Holiday Success Guide. It's 5 lessons. It's 5 modules. We have Canva graphics. It's everything that you need. We are taking all of our years of experience. And honestly, it's how it started my whole coaching group, my Retailers Inner Circle group, because I did a chaotic couple of holidays, and then I shared how I unchaotic. That's not a word, but anyway, how I fixed that, how I turned my holidays around, and I offered it to teach some of my fellow retailers. And then they said, "What's next?" And I'm like, "I don't know." And that's how we started the Retailers Inner Circle. Anyway, that's a side note. Okay, so here we go. Let's talk about takeaways and the advantage that you have, the opportunity that you have. It's all about pushing the right levers, right? We can do anything, we can't do everything. We all know that. And sometimes we push the levers, meaning we do the things in our business that are more fun or more joyful, or we think. So it's like being focused. It's like saying you want to run a marathon, right? You're going to run a marathon. We're going to run a marathon and we're training for this marathon. So we're putting in the reps, right? But maybe we're going to the gym every day and we're putting in the reps like we're working our arms. I'm making it sound like I have a clue what. I do not go to a gym. But anyway, we're working out our arms, right? We're going to the gym every day, but we're working on our arms. Like we're doing curls or lifts. I don't know, whatever. So we're going to have really strong arms, but we're not training for running. Like we've missed the boat. We've done the work. We've put in the work. We're all proud of ourselves. We've gone to the gym every day. I don't know if this analogy is landing, but that's how I think of it. It's like I see all you out there working so hard, but not pushing the right levers, not doing the right things. And again, you're building your arm muscles when really you're training for a marathon, and you should be out running every day and just going a little bit at a time and just training and getting better over time. I don't know. Is that a cool analogy? I don't know if that lands for you, but my brain works in creative ways. So that's how it thinks of things. So I want you to think about, what is it that I do need to do? The first thing you need to do is the boot camp, or is the holiday success guide, which takes you through all the things we did in the boot camp. And I guess I can't say that enough. So that's what my members in my mastermind group are all doing. And that's what, like, everybody in my mastermind group has been working diligently on that, I think. If you're listening to this and you're a member of the mastermind group and you're like, oh crap, I need to catch up, go catch up. We got you. But pushing the right levers means focus on the right things. It means weekly check-ins. It means knowing what you're trying to do. And weekly check-ins meaning, how many times did I run this week? Like, that's the check-in. That's a metric. That's all we have to do, to just check in on what we're focused on. As you know, what we focus on expands and grows. So if you're focused on visibility, or you're focused on, so I guess this is a bonus takeaway or a reminder. I'm very frustrated. It's not the right word. I'm very excited about the possibilities for you if you would focus on the right area. If you focus on the right area. So maybe it's inventory. Maybe it's, something that you need to work on. But we tend to do the things we think we're supposed to be doing. Okay, I'm not going to talk about that anymore. We're going to jump into the first takeaway that my members were sharing. So the first one is the myth that the holidays have to be chaotic and frantic. And again, talking about that, I've talked about that several times here on the podcast. That is literally a myth. It's busy, it's fun, it's energetic. It can be like crazy pants, but it can be crazy pants good, right? It can be so good if you are not burnt out, if you are not stressed about it. Lee from the Lemonade Stand shared that she's taken this boot camp. She has done this and she shows up for her business over and over and over again. She's a member of our mastermind group. I've done a podcast with Lee, but she's taken the boot camp and gone through the whole workshop 4 or 5 times now. And like, we refine it every year. And her comments, to the group were, I've done this 4 or 5 times. It's always busy, but it's never chaotic for me. It's because she's pre-planning. She says, thanks to pre-planning, it's always busy. It's never chaotic. That's the power of getting ahead of this. That's a power of making front-loading decisions. That's the power of just being on top of everything, right? So chaos is optional, and some part of you might be addicted to the chaos. There's a good journal prompt for you, my friends. What part of you is addicted to the chaos? Because there's a part of you that might be addicted to that or enjoys that chaos. So let's untangle that over another podcast. But anyhow, that used to be my thing. I used to be, I think, not addicted, but there was a part of me that was hiding behind the chaos. Okay, that's a whole other podcast. All right, number 2, the takeaway is from our group, our live coaching group, was honestly like watching everybody define their version of success, because that's the first thing that we have to do and that's the first module. It's the first video inside our workshop that the holiday success guide. The first module is about understanding what is your definition and your vision and of success. It can't just be make more money. Like, that's stupid. If that's your answer, go back and revisit your vision and your missions. But like, what is your version of success? So success isn't just about sales. It's also about inventory and flow and energy and team well-being and community. And what are the outcomes that you want for the end of the year? Like, that is, so it was really fun listening to some of the outcomes that people wanted, the members wanted. We asked them that, some of them shared. So, write down your 3 top markers of success beyond sales. So yes, my friends, you have to have a success goal or a retail sales goal, but I also would ask you why. What does that number do for you? And that's where I would encourage you to grab the profits calculator to understand, where's our money going? Like, why did we pick this number out of the air? It's going to allow us to pay our staff this. It's going to allow us our profit. It's going to allow us our payroll. It's going to allow us our nest egg, whatever it is that we're doing. But figure out what the number, and to pay all our bills and all the things, but figure out your number that you're going after. But beyond that, what are your markers of success beyond sales? So one of our members, Millie from Millie from New Zealand, I know we've shared Millie's story here from the Mrs. Blackwell's Village Bookshop in New Zealand. She said her idea of success this year looks like no online order errors, no sickness, taking out her team, she's got a lean team, and turning over her seasonal stock, like really, having a really good season that way. So beyond the financial numbers, it was about making sure everything's flowing well. So she's putting things in place to make sure this is flowing well and that everybody's not burnt out and everything's going well. So, what does success look like? How do you want to feel at the end of the year? In 86 days, when it's December 31st, how do you want to feel about your year? One of our members said she just wants she wants her team to feel like rock stars. She wants to feel like a rock star, and she wants her customers feel so grateful and happy that they chose her. I love that answer, right? So beyond, what are the 3 markers of success? So maybe for you, it's time off with your family or being able to take a vacation. Another one of our members last year took an entire week off to do a hockey tournament. It was really important to her family, to her, to be part of her family thing, that her kid was doing hockey. And she took an entire week off during the busiest season, during the busiest time, which she thought would be impossible in other years. She took an entire week off. Nothing bad happened. Sales soared. Everything worked out because she pre-planned. So define your version of success. That was a takeaway. I love listening to everybody's takeaways. Another takeaway was that customers drive the calendar. Okay. So this has a tendency to, this is where we talk about what are our customers thinking, feeling, and doing. And so one of our members asked the question, well, what does that really mean? What does that look like? And really, it comes from the point of the customer's reality. So what are they emotionally thinking about? Financially, where are they? Behaviorally, meaning, is it a last minute gift giving thing that you should be promoting? So when we look at our that did not make sense. But what I mean is, what are your customers going through? So at the beginning of the year, most of the time people are financially, psychologically, retail psychology is telling you that people will spend, they will spend more. So we're not as, prompt about that. We're not really we're going to plan our calendar around bigger events, maybe at the beginning of the year. If they're feeling tighter at the end, we want them to choose us. So what are your customers? And everybody's customers are different. What are your customers thinking, feeling, and doing? So this also goes, again, behaviorally. We talked about looking at the vibe in your town. Is it football season? There's no sense planning a big event if you have a big old thing going on in your town on football day and you already know that they're not coming. Is it parade weekend? Is there a boating festival? I don't know. What is happening? What's shaping the things and the buying habits of your customers? Your customers. So I'm not going to tell you to do a fall fling, or nobody, whatever Susie's doing in the next town over or the next country over or the next state over, it doesn't matter. We have to look at our community and our people and their buying habits and our customers, our dreamy, beautiful, the customers that we want to attract more of. So one of the takeaways from that was, really thinking about, again, behaviorally. So let's think about maybe the moms that when school's out, I don't know if that affects you. If you have when school's out, is there a change in their buying habits? Is it last minute Sally? You know what I mean? Do we need to start making sure that we know if we sell gifts that are appropriate for men, let's just say, we have great grandpa gifts or whatever. What are they thinking? Gift certificates at the last minute, going into your customer's brain and looking at your calendar. So you physically put yourself in the calendar and you're thinking, okay, what are my dreamy customers doing on November 13th? What are they going to be feeling emotionally, financially, behaviorally? What's your customer's reality? So that we had a big discussion around that. So I do talk a lot about what are your customers thinking, feeling, and doing. And this is what I mean by that. And I hope that's a little more helpful. So community events, school calendars, sports seasons, cultural trends. I mean, not everybody celebrates Christmas is, and we all know that if you've been listening to this podcast a long time. I'm going to tell you, just talking about Christmas and Christmas shopping is a mistake, but for a lot of us, okay, I need to back that up because maybe your customers, that's all they talk about, but we have a broader audience. So do we need to talk about anyway, all of the cultural things, what's going on in your community, all of that. So we did talk a lot about that. And I loved sort of maybe the clarity around that, and a reminder when I say emotionally, there are really good reminders to think about even your content that you're doing and your calendar of events and promotional calendars around the wording. Like, maybe they're tired, maybe they're excited, maybe they're, ready to be done, or I don't know, they're decorating their house, depending on what you're doing. So really pay attention to that. Okay, moving on. Number 4, simplify and remove bottlenecks. So this was another comment that we had, or another conversation that we had around overcomplicating. It leads to the stress. So we can keep our events simple. I know I talk about this again. I share this a lot on the podcast, but this is one of the things that came up in the boot camp. A client realized that wrapping gifts at the till was a 20-minute bottleneck. It was ridiculous. It was taking too long. So they fixed it. They freed up staff. So how can we simplify? Where can I ask yourself, where can you simplify the checkout, the staffing, your promotions, your content? Where can you simplify how you do your events? How can you, where are we simplifying? Put that filter over your face or over your screen or whatever you need to do. And think about how can we make this easier and lighter. I have another client who loves to throw events, and she was in the boot camp, and we had this greatest conversation about, I want to say, refining every year, and again, that's where debriefing comes in, and we did a podcast on debriefing events. But for her, she wants to make every event like a kick butt beautiful thing. And we can do that, but we have to make sure that our team and everybody have the bandwidth for that. So, and the cost and the ROI on that, the return on investment, and what does that look like? So it's been pared way down. It was so fun to watch her pare everything down, pare it down. Another client who owns 2 stores. She has 2 stores in 2 different towns. How do we make it simple? How do we double dip? How do we not double dip, but how do we do something for one store that's just easy to do for the other store? We don't have to complicate things. Okay, that was another fabulous conversation that we had about simplifying and removing bottlenecks. Okay, number 5, profit and hospitality matter more than your discounts. So conversations we had, I'm going to say that again. Your profits, we're always protecting our profits, right? We're always protecting our profits because we can't exist without profits. And also hospitality, they matter more than discounts. So we want to understand that my client who wants to feel like a rock star at the end of the year. So that doesn't come from running these big sales. It's not going to come from running giant sales every weekend, all holiday season. Resist the urge for sales. Resist the urge to mark down, resist that urge. What can we do instead? It comes from being intentional. It comes from looking at our margins and understanding what does profitability look like in each category. What are we looking at your pricing? It also comes from so many hospitality driven promotions. And I mean that, what can we do to make people smile and be joy filled? They want that more than a 5% or 10% off sale. Maybe you're going to argue with me. Maybe if you're going to say no, they want that $1.75 or they want that $12 off. I don't believe that to be true all the time. Yes, people love a good deal. Yes, they don't want to feel taken advantage of. Yes, people love value, but hospitality drives more quality brands. So let that land wherever it needs to land. But a reminder, so your first time holiday shoppers are going to meet you this December, or the first time holiday people that are first time shoppers are going to come in. So think about what their experience needs to be. If they're just being driven by the fact that they came into your shop because you had a big sale on, and yes, that's a driver, and yes, we do want to do promotions, and yes, we do want to do value, and yes, we can do sales. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is being super intentional about that and thinking about your customer's experience back up to what's driving them. Yes, we can have little bonus sales and promotions, but being super intentional about our margins and super protective of our profit, but also wowing them with our hospitality. So we had a big conversation around that. And I just felt really, it was just fun having a conversation with those members around what does that look like in your store? So ask yourself, what does that look like in your store? So creating events. I know I'm back up to Lee. Lee does this wonderful, she does a holiday event that she's just knocking that out of the park every year. Like it's just wildly, it's been improved upon. She's been doing it for years. And there's no sales that day. Like there's no sale. Customers love it. They feel good. They feel happy. She has like her husband dresses up like a Santa Claus or an elf or something, outside the door because they have lineups to get into this event. And it's her holiday, I was going to say like exposure. I mean like launching of her holiday season. So there's just lots of things that we can do to make our holidays profitable and hospitable without discounts. So just take that into consideration. And that again was a great conversation we had. Okay, was that 5? Yeah, that was 5. So let's recap the 5 takeaways. So chaos is optional. Define your success. Let customers guide you. Like make it their customers' reality. Simplify. And focus on profit and hospitality. They're all so important, my friends. I loved the conversations. If you were there during those live calls, thank you for participating. Thank you for being there. Thank you for sharing. And again, it's not too late. You've got lots of time. You've got, if this resonated in any way, everything that I shared today comes straight from our holiday success guide. Like these are all pieces of that. Inside you'll get a roadmap, a workbook, templates, promotional guides. It's all there to help you prepare and have clarity instead of that chaos. So members get this free. Remember, Holiday Success Guide is free inside our Retailers Inner Circle. But if you're not a member, you can grab it as a standalone, head over to my workshop or head over to my website where that workshop lives. It's wendybatten.com. It's /holiday-prep-bootcamp, or you know what, you can just find it as Work With Me on my page. Trying to make it simple. Anyhow, my friends, take 1 hour this week. Define your version of holiday success. The season is coming so fast. It's coming so fast. As shoppers are coming, the joy is coming. Let's bring on the joy. Let's choose to meet this whole season with calm, with profit, and with so much joy, because we're here to build businesses out of our dreams, right? We're here to build a beautiful brand. So let's continue bringing that joy. Okay, my friends, thank you for listening. Have fun stuff coming up on the podcast over the next few weeks. And shout out to you if you listened all the way to the end. Shout out to you if you've been listening. Thank you. We do have a holiday playlist as well. Some of our top holiday podcasts that are all put together in a playlist. You can find those under my resources on my website as well too. We'll also link them here in the show notes. Okay, my friends, thank you for being here. We'll see you next week. Well, that's it for this week's episode of the Creative Shop Talk podcast. I'm so glad that you were here to join us this week, and I hope you found value in what we're sharing here. I want to remind you that our website has all of the show notes. You can find it at wendybatten.com/podcast. Everything that you need to hear about today's podcast is there. Also an opportunity if you need to reach out to me. If I can support you in any way whatsoever, please feel free to reach out. So thanks for joining us. Please leave a review, subscribe if you can, and never miss an episode. We hope to see you back here again next week. Thanks, my friend. Have a great week.